Hello and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. Are you ready to have your mind freaked? I'm so excited that Criss Angel is here. And I was reading, Criss Angel, welcome to Kennedy Saves the World.
Well, thank you so much for having me. What an honor to be here.
Arguably the greatest living magician.
We got to save the world.
We do.
We got to save the world.
The world has a lot of magic in it that requires saving.
Yes.
I think you would agree with me about that.
I totally agree.
Yes.
Life is magic.
And you have moved your Vegas show to Planet Hollywood, correct?
I did. I've been playing Vegas now for over 6,000 shows. I was doing 460 or 80 a year. Now I'm getting old, so I'm 57, so I do about 200 a year now, plus everything else that I do. So I'm at Planet Hollywood with MINDFREAK, and it's the craziest show, the #1 show in Vegas. And
really?
Yeah, very grateful. I'm the #1 show for Caesars Properties, which they own more casino hotels than any other company. So it's been kicking some butt, and came out to New York to see my mama. My mom's 90.
Nice. Oh, God bless her.
And God bless her, yes.
You used to make her cry every episode of MINDFREAK.
I did. I still do, because I don't come and visit as much as I should, because I have the show, I'm always doing. But she comes out and spends months with me.
Oh, that's nice.
So she comes to every single one of my shows.
Yeah.
And you haven't been, but hopefully you will.
I would love to go see your show.
Anytime.
I love magic. I've always loved magic.
Yeah.
I love Vegas. I love Vegas magic.
Yeah. Vegas is magic.
I'm in.
Yeah.
No, I want to give over and believe everything.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a skeptical audience at all. I'm like, oh yes.
When
he's floating.
When you are, when I do things, I try to make the audience. I don't care about how. I don't want them to be like, how does he do it? I want them to think about how do they feel when they watch it? That's more important. It's the magic of emotion, and for me, that's really, I try to take the audience on a roller coaster ride. You don't know where it's going to turn or flip over or do a barrel roll, because for me, it's about keeping people on the edge of the seats, keeping things tight, and take people through, an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And so, you'll see me fly around, levitating, disappearing, appear in the audience, talking about pediatric cancer, because my kid went through that. I take people on this crazy journey, and they cry, they're scared, they're excited. So it's a little bit of every emotion in my show.
Was magic emotional for you when you were a kid? Like when you first fell in love with magic and thought to yourself, I want to do this. Was there already an emotional connection for you, or was that something that you wanted to add to what you already loved?
I used to think that magicians were very hokey.
Okay.
I was much more inclined to align with MTV, music videos, what you were doing and how you were celebrating yourself. Magicians were very much pigeonholed as a very specific looking breed, doing a very specific, the way that they did it was very specific. And I came out and I was much more inspired by rock and rap and that culture. And so my expression through my art, kind of shined in a different way than everybody else. So then I started realizing that what really connects to people, both on television and in my live show, is that I'm trying to show people that anything is possible, that, it's not about tricks. It's about that emotion, about how you feel when you watch it, and kind of really empower people and make people believe that anything is possible, like that they can accomplish anything. As a guy that took the short bus in high school, never went to college, I'm living proof that if you put the sweat equity in, you have the passion, the perseverance, you can achieve anything.
I mean, it seems very competitive, especially in Vegas.
Not when you're #1.
No, but there's so much.
No, it's actually
there's so much upside to what you do.
It's worse.
And when people come to Vegas now, things are pretty expensive, and they have a lot of choices.
100%.
But they're only going to go, like, if they go into town, it's either going to be for an artist who's in residence for a short period of time, and they're going to pay $1,000 for a ticket, or if you give them a show, like, it has to be so much better than anything they've seen on America's Got Talent or anything else.
You hit the nail dead on the head. I mean, like, it's incredible what you just said, because, Las Vegas used to be a place that everybody would go to gamble, but now you can gamble at home. You could get like an app and just sit on your couch, or you can just go to your state and go, whether on a boat or a gamble in Jersey or wherever you want to go. So Vegas has become, unfortunately, very expensive. Everything's a la carte, right? A drink is $25, $30. How do people afford that? So you have to have a name that reaches beyond Vegas, and you have to be able to really give the audience an experience that they can't have anywhere else in the world. And not to sound conceited, but rather confident, that's what I do every night in this incredible show where I'm levitating, flying around. People used to see me on TV and be like, oh, he can't do that live. That's trick photography. That's CGI. Then you see me do it, and then you're like, holy.
Did you start doing close-up magic?
I do close-up magic. That's how I started when I was a kid. I got a magic set under the Christmas tree, and then when all the props broke eventually, I didn't have money, so I had a lot of time. So I put the sweat equity in to learn the discipline that is known as sleight of hand magic, where it relies on nothing more than your 10 fingers, your assistants, to create miracles with, household items, cards, coins, silverware, anything that you can get your hand on. And I did that. I do that in the show, but I also do the crazy big illusions and, hanging upside down and, doing stuff over the audience, just stuff that people have never seen in an immersive setting. So we have a hurricane that happens in the show. Literally, the audience is immersed in flying around everywhere, winds up to 30 miles an hour. Like, it's nuts, the show. And then there's a blizzard in the show.
So how do you
it's
get
a
people,
rock concert.
How do you get people out of their heads? Because when people can finally let go and experience something, and I feel like when they go to a musical, when they go to a rock concert, like, they want to let go, like they show up. But with magic, you get people who, it's almost like comedy, like people who are like, this guy's not funny, I'm gonna heckle him, and people are skeptical.
You right away, the way when people go through my lobby and how the things that are in the lobby, how they interact with things that are in the lobby, and then they have a choice to make what way they want to enter the theater. They can choose either way, the altruistic side or the misanthrope side. It's their choice. And then when they're sitting in their seats, it's a concert. It's like you're getting ready to see a concert. People are psychologically conditioned to let their inhibitions go, suspend their disbelief, and they are, before I even make it, before I literally appear on stage, they're there. And it's a concert. People are standing up when they're watching my show. No one's sitting down. It's not like par 4. It's nothing like that. It's like you're going to see a concert. Yeah. And that's the experience that I wanted to create because it's exciting. And then once we kind of get that initial experience going, then I say, okay, put your seatbelts on because I'm going to take you on a journey. You have no idea where we're going to go. But most of the people that are there, are willing to suspend their disbelief, go on this emotional roller coaster ride. They cry, they laugh, they're scared. They're excited. They feel empowered by the end that they can go out and conquer the world. It's a show unlike anything, not because I created it, but because it's true. And I've worked tirelessly my whole life to get to this point. And you will not see any of these illusions that I do. You won't see. The theater itself is the most sophisticated technological theater in the world. Forget about Vegas. There's, it's a 500 million pixels of video. We have as many pixels of video as the Sphere.
I was just going to ask you, like compare it to the Sphere, because a lot of people haven't experienced it firsthand, but they've seen video from it, and they you hear these accounts.
2,000 lights.
Yeah.
We have 165 speakers that are around everybody. It's beyond surround sound. There is just so much technology that I incorporated. There's 3D without 3D glasses.
Do you have water?
Do
you have a water feature?
We do not have a water feature outside of giving people water because after they drink, they electrocute themselves. No, but it's a very there's live there's music partially live. It's just a really cool time. And, I get to go on stage. I always have celebrities in the audience, and bands that we grew up with, bands that you featured, and artists that you featured. I just had J Balvin there. I just had Pauly Shore was there 2 days ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the Weasel.
I love Pauly so much.
He was just there 2 days ago, and then we had Paul Stanley, Jonathan Davis of Korn. I mean, just everybody kind of shows up.
Now, is Vegas more of a destination place for celebrities to live now? Because I know Mark Wahlberg moved his family from LA
No
to
state tax.
Yeah. I mean, they're
Like
they're
Florida.
Florida,
Why
Tennessee.
are you living in New York? I used to live in New York. I love New York. My mom still lives here.
Yeah.
But it's the thing about Vegas that's so awesome. And by the way, my home is still New York in my heart, but I live in Vegas because no state tax. Yep. There's literally it's a modern city comparatively. You're not. I mean, there's depressing parts everywhere you go, but for the most part, it's a really good place. Great to raise kids. The weather overall, for the most part, is really good. And I've been so blessed. I'm so grateful to all the people listening and for all the support over the years, because it's given me this opportunity I've done over 6,000 shows in Vegas.
Wow.
I've done over 100 episodes of just my one series, not forget about the other ones, MINDFREAK. So and I have new projects I'm going to be announcing. So I'm going to come back to announce something really big. I'll tell you off, Mike, but it's big.
I also love that you're going on Gutfeld. So it's interesting because also when you move away from the coasts, people are a little bit more genuine about their politics. Whereas, when you live around a bunch of kind of rabid liberals in LA and New York, which is pretty much where I spent most of my life.
Any big city for the most part.
It's like, and people, I've lost friends because of politics.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because my politics haven't changed. Like I
remember back on MTV, you were very vocal.
And I would challenge bands, especially bands like Rage Against the Machine, because I felt they were very preachy.
Yeah.
And I thought it was important for kids who are watching to come to their own conclusions. I feel that way as a parent. So you've been a little bit more vocal about your politics. Is that because you've paid so much in taxes that you think differently about the government, or have you always been a political person?
No, I kind of keep a lot of things to myself, and my family kind of understands my perspective. But I use common sense. I'm really not a smart, I never went to college. I'm street smart. I use common sense. I do we're homeschooling our kids. We took them out of the school because even though it was private school, because
they can be some of the worst.
Yeah, and they're becoming, basically how to be an employee. Right? There's no forward thinking. There's no problem solving. What do you do if you get $1? How much do you spend? How much do you invest? How much do you, buy something that you want? There's just not common sense teachings. And so for me, I'm honest and I try to be fair. And I wish we lived in a day and age where, I was talking about this on Gutfeld, is the days of President Reagan with Tip O'Neill. You had two people that were completely different sides of the persuasion, yet they would disagree all day, but they were able to go out and have a couple of drinks and be buddies.
Yeah.
Why can't we agree to disagree, still love each other, still respect each other, and not call each other this or that, depending upon whatever that persuasion is that you come from? There's no need for that. It's just gotten so volatile and so unfortunate that where do you go when you're on 10? If there's not an 11, it's we got to get grounded. We got to realize that people are different. Some people have dark hair, some people have light hair, some people are dark skin, some people light skin, and that's the same thing with our opinions. They're different opinions, and we have to be accepting and at least willing to listen to somebody's perspective, even if you don't agree with it, and say, you know what? We differ, but I love you and you're cool, and we could be friends and have a great time together. It's just gotten so divided. I don't like that.
Well, it has gotten divided, and you see musicians like Beyonce and Taylor Swift come out for Kamala Harris, and Kid Rock, I guess, and even Bill Maher went and had dinner with the president, but what used to be escapism is now a lecture.
Yeah.
And it's now, if you don't think and vote the way I do, then I don't want you on my team, which I think is a risky proposition. Yeah. And it's so off-putting because we used to have avenues for escape. We used to have music and sports.
Sure.
And that was amazing. Yep. And it's in the 90s, you could be a fan of hip hop, and you could be a fan of R&B and alternative and punk rock and everything else, and it was all good, and no one called you a cultural appropriator. Is magic the last real form of escapism that we have?
Well, I think magic is around us if we just open up our eyes and look. Look at a baby being born. There's no greater magic miracle than that, right? And then you look at a plane flying. How many people really understand how a plane flies? If you just stop and look around, what a magician, I guess their job is, or has been, to make people aware of the impossible and what's around us, to appreciate it. But magicians have been guarding an empty safe for a long, long time, because a secret is a secret. It doesn't really matter. You can know how they do movie magic and still want to go see the movie if there's something that's still there that goes beyond the trick and engages your emotion. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where my success has been in giving something to people that goes far beyond a trick, a puzzle. And I think magic, if it's done properly, allows people to dream, to imagine, to escape, and to see that the impossible is possible.
Join us for a live Kennedy Saves the World podcast on Thursday, June 19th at Langan's on 47th Street right here in New York City. We're going to kick off your summer with special guests Jimmy Fallon, Emily Compagno, and many more. You got to be there June 19th, 3 p.m. for a special Kennedy Saves the World. Are there things that you see that still freak you out?
Things like that freak me out are not really in the magic world. There are things that I'm not, I have no fears. I've done crazy things. I've hung from fish hooks for hours from a helicopter. I've been buried alive. I spent 24 hours underwater. I've done all these crazy different things. Lit myself on fire for my mom's 70th birthday as a human candle, engulfed in 16-foot flames. So you know what? The only thing that I have fear of is God.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my only fear, is that I lived my life in a righteous way, and that I did the right things, and followed the right paths for my children. Yes. And I have a 3-year-old daughter. I'm 57, so I have to live to like 150, so she doesn't meet any guy like the way I used to be. I have a 6-year-old boy, and I have an 11-year-old boy. My 11-year-old boy got diagnosed with pediatric cancer when he was 20 months old, and he went through 6+ years of chemo and all this craziness. And when you go through that as a parent, along with Chenille, who was an amazing nurse for our son, I should say. We have 3 kids together. You realize what's important in life. Life is so fragile, and the things that we hold as great value have no value. You never see a hearse pulling a U-Haul trailer, It's the things that you can't buy. It's the love that you have for the people that are important to you. It's the experience and the memories you create. If you have those things, you're the wealthiest person in the world. Money is nice to have, but it's not nice to have. It's nice to have money, but money not have you.
Yes.
Or things. So I used to think when I was broke and I was trying to make it in this business, and I used to walk past MTV when you were a VJ there, and I used to dream about, oh man, if I was successful, if I had money, I would do this and then you're blessed enough to become successful after, becoming a success. 18 years as an overnight success, as they say. It took me 18 years to become an overnight success. I'm tired, sorry. But, and then you become successful, and then you buy 50 cars and motorcycles and this and that. Then you realize, it doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
Doesn't fulfill that void. So I would say to anybody listening to that, be happy with your health, with the people you love. Go for the things that you want to accomplish. Never waver in what you want out of life. Life is too short to not go for those goals. But realize that you have to be in the moment and appreciate that moment. And you're going to have to pivot and do different things. And success doesn't happen on your timetable. It happens when it's meant to be, when you have an opportunity that you're ready to deliver in.
So you obviously have, as you said, a lot of confidence, but also an incredible work ethic. Is that from being Greek? Is that from, being a New Yorker? Are there other people in your family that just showed you hard work? And taking pride in what you do are paramount above all?
You're Greek.
I'm Romanian, but I was raised in the Greek church.
Okay, so same thing.
Yes, and I studied in Greece, so I was reading your Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
And
I'm 100%. Yes, see that?
Yes.
That's 100%
Yes.
Greek, right?
So, but I was able to read your name. And I haven't studied Greek
Yeah,
in
my
21
real
years, but
last name is Sarandakos.
Christoforos
Yes.
Nikolaos Sarantakos.
Now you know why I changed it to Angel. It's a lot easier to remember.
I thought that
but
it might
that
be
is my
some,
real. That is
some
my
version of like Agliko or
yeah.
Aglika.
No. It's all just made up. You know. Now it sticks or it has stuck, and I'm kind of locked into Criss Angel, which is a beautiful thing. But
yeah, where do you get that? Where do you get that fire?
Yeah, I think my dad. My dad was the most amazing man. He died when he was 60 and 2.5 years from my age currently, from stomach cancer after given basically a death sentence of 3 weeks to live, and he lived for over 3 years. I used to bring him into Sloan Kettering. I gave up my career to take care of my pop, and my dad was just somebody that believed in hard work. He worked in a restaurant business, coffee shops. We didn't come from money. We came from humble beginnings. He got up at 4:30 in the morning, 6 days a week, came home at night, and still had time to be for his family. And he was selfless. He wanted to create a better life for his children, like I'm trying to do for mine, and I'm sure you are, and everybody else that's listening is trying to do. But my dad was all about hard work. What you put in is what you get out. If it was easy, everybody would be successful. And never to give up, and to be willing to pivot, to be willing to, look and understand what you're doing wrong, self-reflection, and having people around you that will tell you what you're doing wrong, that you can trust, that are going to give you honest to goodness criticism, but from a good place, And so,
and then that's what Greek philosophy gave us.
Yes.
Like Plato said, the unexamined life is not worth living.
Exactly.
And I feel like Greek people really internalize that and really try and figure out what am I doing right? And also, what am I doing wrong? And being honest, because we don't live in a culture where people want to hear they're doing anything wrong.
Right.
So they never want to correct their flaws.
Well, that's the biggest flaw, right?
Yeah.
If you're not willing to stop and look in the mirror and self-reflect and be like, hey, you know what? This is not working. Or you know what? I'm not being true to myself, and I don't like the way I'm being. Like, to call yourself out. Like, I'm in bed at night, I reflect a lot. I think about oh, you know what? I don't like that about myself. I want to change that. But when you're younger, you're more thick-headed, and as you get older, as I'm getting older, I just think about a lot of things differently now with children, with a child that went through this trauma. And I just think, I can be better professionally as an artist, and I can also be better as a human being. And I want to be a beacon of light. When people meet me, I want people to feel positivity. I want people to feel love. I want people to feel light. Because that's what we have to give. Why be negative? Why put people down? That society, and thanks to, social media, has really underscored that in a horrible way. Yeah. Makes people feel bad about themselves or what people say about them. And I just think, when you think back of before, I mean, this is great for certain things, but it also really sucks for a lot of people in a lot of ways. For me, I don't even read what people write. I don't give a shit about what people say. I live my life. You get one life to live. You look ahead. You don't look behind unless you're reflecting, but you don't listen to people that are out to hate you.
Yeah, and I totally
people
agree.
Miserable.
You don't determine your self-worth by what other people say, but because you can find a lot of people to say really negative things, and when you internalize that, it turns into horrible things in your body.
Yeah, 100%. You are what you think. My dad always said to me, I can use language on here. I did, right? So my dad used to say to me in Greek, but I'll say in English, you hang out with you start to smell like it. You hang out with really good people, you can become better. So you're a product of your environment. And I really, truly believe that.
Yeah.
You really are. You hang out with good people, you become better. You want to achieve something in life, hang out with people. Don't even try to get paid for it. Just hang out with people doing it and let it rub off on you, and try to be an apprentice. Try to learn. And put blinders on and just go for it. People talk about what they want out of life. Everybody, I want this, I want this, I want this. but they're not willing to put the action in to bring it to fruition. And that's why they never accomplish it. And they're in a hamster wheel just going around and around and around. And they're not happy in their job.
Yeah.
And they're wasting their life away. And to me, it's like, you got to do what you love. We don't know how much time we have on this earth. Got to do personally and professionally what, for the most part, nothing is perfect, but for the most part, gives you a sense of content. You know, to be content is to be fulfilled.
I love that. I mean, you've made my anxiety disappear. I cannot wait to go see your Vegas show.
I hope you do.
Because I've been a fan of yours for so long.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you've had, like, you have cultivated this success, through hard work and exploring different avenues. And it's like, and being competitive with other people. And that's the coolest thing is like not necessarily watching what other people do. Like, if you want to be the greatest ever, you can't try and replicate.
No.
You have to
be an
generate.
original.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's only one of you. Celebrate who you are.
Amen.
And you've done that from the days I used to watch you when I was broke and just had a dream.
No.
And here I am with you. And you've been able to persevere. And if you think about it, and I don't mean any disrespect, but from where you came, you're the most successful BJ out there because you've evolved it and transformed it because you were smart, you're talented, and you know how to pivot, and you know how to keep it relevant.
Oh.
And people, unfortunately, don't know that secret. You do.
Oh, Criss. Well, you are awesome. You're a tour de force. I'm going to go see you in Vegas.
Excellent.
I'm going to see you when you're on Gutfeld. And I wish you and your family all the success in the world.
Likewise.
I'm so proud of you for
God bless
homeschooling
you.
your kids. God bless you as well. Kronia Pola with
Thank
your whole
you.
family.
Paristo paropeli. Thank you very much in Greek.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Aristopoli. I love it.
Yasu.
This has been Kennedy Saves the World along with Criss Angel. I'm Kennedy.
And I'm Criss Angel.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.